We'd like to start out by thanking our valuable sponsors. Sense of Satisfaction by Cricket is the place for all your fragrance needs. Plus, she's got products to heal what ails your skin and your hair. Shop at scentsbycricket.com. Special thanks to our valued sponsor, John Travis, a financial coach and certified Kingdom advisor with Richard Young Associates, a registered investment advisor. Thanks goes to Anna Patterson, my sister in the Lord who faithfully gives to this ministry every month. And to our newest sponsor, LaToya Gerard of Preach the Word Worldwide Network. She is a valued sponsor and a major encourager regarding this ministry. We need and would love to have you as a sponsor. Absolutely no gift is too small. Please note the info regarding giving throughout and at the end of the show, and help us spread these testimonies around the world. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the viewpoints of our sponsors. It's time to hear the story, make the connection, learn the lesson, and gain the wisdom. Are you ready? Let's get charged and be changed. The Sister Speak Brother Break Show. Conversations on grace, healing, and deliverance. This is Marcy Bush. Come on, let's journey together.
I wanted a lot more time with my mom. Right. So much more that she needs to see. You know, so it was tough. And I had people like, you know, just family afterwards. Like I had to get away to myself, and had some family members just like say, man, I didn't know. I wish I could have done. I'm like, what could you have done? There's nothing you could have done. There's nothing I could really do. Right. You know, so it's just one of those things. And I don't want to jump too far ahead, but it's just one of those things where, you know, that moment, I will say that was the pivotal point really in my entire life that changed. Right. From that moment on. Right. I didn't change as a person. I'll tell you that back. I did change as a person, but it was for the better. Because there were certain things at that moment, everybody else in my life, you know, popped in my head. And so I knew I needed to shift. Right. So.
And you did a major shift. Where do you think in the, like I said, everything started being a whirlwind kind of. In that first space, I feel like everybody was just trying to make it like just go. But where did it end up taking you as an individual? Like initially, I think I've heard you say like you kind of didn't want to be at your house.
Yeah, so I didn't.
And feel free if you need them.
I think I'm okay. Right afterwards, I guess I didn't want to be alone. I guess that's the biggest thing. So I went and stayed at my Aunt Will's house with my cousins, and I stayed there all the way until the funeral. I didn't want to be by myself. And so, because at the time me and Kia weren't married, and you know, even though we're young people, we were both still pretty traditional, you know, in most things in our relationship. So we didn't live together anything before we got married, but I didn't want to be by myself, so I went and stayed over there, and it's weird, like we had the funeral. The minute she went into the ground, I was better. I was better, and I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm good. It was like, I guess it's kind of like, for lack of better words, I had to man up. And, you know, I knew stuff I needed to do, so I was just like, all right, I'm better. I was like, I'm going home. I'm good. And so the only reason I actually stayed at my aunt's house another night was my cousin. He was like, just come back one more. I was like, man, I loved having you at the house. It's just good for us just to be around. He's like, just stay one more night, man. So I did go, but after that, it was like, for me, my grieving period was done.
Right.
And even to this day, I still haven't properly grieved her. But at that moment, my grieving period was done because I had siblings that I need to think about. And
take your time, much time as you need.
Sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about at all.
But I had siblings that I needed to think about, and I knew that I needed to be there for them because who else was going to do it? And I'm not the oldest; I'm the second oldest, but still, I was like, I got to be there for my siblings. So, whatever feelings I had. Pushed them to the side, and I just, they were my focus.
Right.
And they were my focus for years, even after like the following year, 2010, I got married. And it was something that affected my marriage earlier on. It wasn't, where it was terrible, but I put my siblings before my wife.
Right.
Because it was like a us against the world thing.
Right. Because you went from being brother to being mama and daddy.
Yeah, because my dad was still there. But what is he finna do? He ain't finna do nothing.
Right.
I knew he wasn't gonna do anything. So at that moment, I needed to step up and do what I needed to do. So if they needed money, I gave it to him, and Kia would ask me like, hey, did you do such and such? Or did you give such and such? I'm like, yeah. And not like in a bully type of way, but I'd be like, yeah, I did, and what?
Right.
So it wasn't, we really had to have a conversation, and she just let me know, and this is why I love her so much. She was like, I don't have a problem with what you did, but it's us now.
Right.
It's not just you.
Right.
It's us. I know your situation. I'm not telling you don't help them, but let me know because we're in this together.
Right.
And that's something that I had to, and she was right. She was absolutely right.
Right.
And from then on, it was kind of, that was really what kind of really keep me bringing Kia into the fold and let me know that I'm not in this alone entirely.
Right.
But my whole focus was like, granted, my sisters, they were on their own, but I still needed to be there for them. My brother, Chad, was only 15.
Right.
So, and I knew how things were at the house, and I did everything I could short of having him coming to live with me because I just couldn't do it.
Right. It's like you and Kia were like his mama and daddy.
Yeah. So I did everything for Chad. I mean, from the time, like if there was an issue at school, the teachers called me. And I was the person looking out for him and doing everything for him around that time.
Right.
And then like my sisters, Jill, I was there for Jill as much as I could. And it was tough because I think we all went through it. Like I said, me, I still haven't gone through it, but I know the Jill, Jessica, and Chad went through it pretty tough in their own ways. But Jill and Chad, I feel like it hit them the most, only because I did reach out, and at that time Jessica was dealing with it in her own way, and I was trying to reach out and check on her, but she just wasn't, she wasn't receiving it at the time.
Right.
So that's the only reason why I say I don't know exactly where she was at that point. I mean, I know now for sure because we talked, but I'd reach out, but just couldn't get to that point with her. But Jill and Chad, like a lot of my energy poured into them, more so Chad, because to me, I was like, I still gotta raise him.
Yeah.
Still teach him how to be a man. So that's where, from that point on, it was just solely focused on them.
Right.
And kind of pushing pushing my feelings and myself to the side and making sure they were straight.
Right.
And being able to continue to navigate through life.
Right. And see, even like you said, you know, if they needed money, you were there, but it was even the emotions of the thing, feeling like, because that's weight.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight. That filling shoes, not in the way your mom would have, but like, I'm going to make sure they okay. Like you said, Beck always was like, oh, but everything going to be okay. And it's like, you jumped into this role. And the thing was, they did too. Like, I don't know that any of y'all knew who you were, like the position you held until that moment. You stepped into it and they automatically, like, that's who you were. And now that we're talking, it's almost like that whole where I said Beck was the hub. You were the hub. Like, you were the one that everybody in your family turned to. And I can't speak for my sisters and brothers, but I know looking back, like, of course I knew I could never be my sister. I could never be y'all's mama. Would never try to do that. But, like, for me, it's just, I think everybody was flailing, trying to do their own thing, like trying to survive. And I wish so much, looking back, that I could have taken some of the weight off of you.
See, that's the thing. I don't even think about that because I wasn't looking for anybody else to help. I'm just not a person that asked for help. And it was just something that nobody came to me and was like, Kevin, now you have to.
Right.
It was just, it just innately, I knew it was something that I needed to do.
Right.
And I'm going to make it work. Right. I didn't call y'all and ask y'all for anything. Because y'all got your own lives. That's where my mind goes.
Right.
Everybody else has their own family, their own lives, their own problems. I don't want to be nobody else's problem. I'm not going to let us be anybody else's problem. We're going to deal with it.
Right.
If nothing else, I'm going to deal with it.
And I know for Takia, like I said, to enter, because y'all, like you said, when your mom passed, y'all were not married yet. No. And so I'm just thinking about, for the first time, this shift took place because you one of the coolest, laid back, whatever people. But now you got 3 siblings that you have made yourself responsible for.
Yeah.
And like you said, not even able to grieve yourself, because I gotta be okay so they can be okay.
Right.
And then for Takia to step into that dynamic, because just like we talked about how a parent is not the same person as when they become a grandparent, or if they have children down the line. So her fiance and her husband, never thought about it, her fiance and the husband she got were 2 different people. 2 different people, because y'all went from it being you 2 to it being y'all, what, 5?
Yeah. And I mean, and like I said, I thank God for her every day, because she showed a lot of patience with me, especially when I wasn't handling things correctly towards her. And just having patience. She never, and to this day, she never badgers me about anything. Like if I need to help my siblings do anything, or if they need something, or they just want to come over, she doesn't badger me about it. She's never tried to get in between us. She's just been nothing but supportive.
Yes.
And the issues that we had when it came to it initially was my fault. It was my fault because I didn't handle it correctly.
Right. And I'm sure it probably caused some things, because again, you don't know a person, like nobody knows them like the person who's living with them.
Yeah.
So although you may not be verbalizing, she's seeing the strain, that it placed on you. So I learned, like in the beginning, I didn't know, because like you said, you was gonna make sure you was holding it down.
Yeah.
But over time, you know, I really did start praying for Kia, because everybody didn't know. She had the inside view. Mm-hmm. And so she knew how things were affecting you and your marriage. Even though, like you said, was no contention, there was like this tension at times, just because, hey, I'm here, you know, include me. But at the same time, like now, this is your wife.
Right.
And y'all ninjas go quit. And she didn't say it like that, but like there was a lot of pressure on you. And a lot of, like, you had to maintain while you're on the phone with them and be the, you know, make everything okay. But then there was you and what you had to deal with after the call, you know. And she saw that. And even if you didn't verbalize a lot, because the two are now one, she feel you.
Yeah.
She feel you. And at some point, because like I said, Chad was y'all's son. I mean, and she was playing mama role in a way. Like, Chad, did you, like, she had to be that female.
Yeah, we literally, like, granted, like I said, he was 15, but I did everything I could, helped him get his license and all that, helped him buy a car. We moved him into college, bought everything for his dorm room. So, you know, we were there from that point on. And Chad, and you know, he's got his own story, but Chad is a mama's boy. He still is, even though mama isn't here. He still is.
Right.
But Chad was a mama's boy. And so it really affected him.
Because even
immensely.
when y'all were gone, he was at the house. Yeah. When everybody else was grown and gone. Yeah. He was the teenager still in the house with your mama.
Yeah, yeah. So, just stepping in and just doing what I could for him and getting him on the right track. And it was tough. And not because he you know, strayed and was doing all kind of crazy stuff, but it was just tough because, you know, he was a mama's boy and he just lost his whole world. Yeah. And so it was tough, but I did what I could for him. And, I mean, I'm proud to say he's the man he is today. I'm proud of, because I look up to him, and I look to him for certain things, just because of how intelligent he is and the way he moves now. Right. He moves on a different frequency than everybody else does. He's 10 steps ahead of everybody all the time. And so, if there's an accomplishment that I have, it's him. Just seeing the way he's progressed. Yes. So,
because when I tell you, look up to his big brother.
Like I said, I look up to him now.
Oh my goodness! So. I remember as that young guy, it was like foot for foot.
Yeah, yeah.
And at times you'd be like, "Man, what you doing?" But because it, you know, again, it's that role, and then you had to go from being brother to being daddy, and I know. They're grateful, and I don't mean that in an ugly way.
It's true, because it did affect, especially me and him. We weren't able to have, especially as he got older, those teenage, early 20 years. By the time he turned 21, me and him had a real conversation. But from there, we couldn't have this brother-to-brother relationship. Right. I couldn't be the brother that he could come to and be like, man, let me tell you about my day. If he told me, I'm going to correct him where he was wrong and tell him where I feel like he messed up and where he need to do, you know what I'm saying? Because he's not going to get it from anybody else. Right. If I don't give it to you, ain't nobody else that give it. Everybody else just encouraging the foolishness. So I had to tell him things he didn't want to hear from me. Right. And I didn't want to have to tell it to him, but it really, it put us in a different relationship space. And it wasn't until he turned 21 where I told him, I was just like, bro, there's nothing else I can tell you. From 15 to 21, there's nothing else I can tell you, nothing else I can teach you. I'm here if you need me. But as far as advice and how to move, I've told you all I know. So I was like, I'm here if you need me, and I got your back no matter what. But as far as me calling and checking up on you, bro, I'm done with that. I can't do it no more. It's time for you to get out there on your own. And he jumped off that cliff and started soaring.
Right.
And he ain't came back down since.
That's right.
So yeah, it's that's just, you know, I have a hard time accepting compliments and pat myself on the back, but he is one physical embodiment I can see of some of the decisions I've made.
That's good.
Because I know for a fact if Mama was still here, he wouldn't be the same person he is today.
Right.
And not saying that's a bad thing.
Right.
But he is a very strong person.
Yes. Yes.
And I feel like I had a part to play in steering him in that direction.
And did.
So.
You did. And I want to say you and Takia. Y'all,
and I'm sorry, I say we did, because it was me and Kia.
Yeah, but you and Takia, but you were that man figure. You know what I'm saying? Other ways that you, I know you had to immediately switch roles, and I say had to. I guess for you, yes, you had to.
Yeah.
But were there any other things that you see kind of happened as a result of your mom's passing?
Yeah, it's kind of small and minor, but one of the things that it was sort of a little trigger, a little bit. It was something me and my older sister Jill talked about, just the fact of, because we're such a tight-knit family, and being at grandma and granddad's house, just being in there. And I know initially after Mama passing, it was very difficult because it felt like our link to the family was broken. And for me, it's something so small and subtle you don't think about, but it's the fact of hearing the word mama. And I'd hear everybody, like you'd say, like mama, and somebody'd answer. And my cousins be like mama, and somebody'd answer. If I said that, there's nobody there to answer.
Right.
That word means nothing in that house when it comes from me.
Right.
And so that's something that I ran from. And the way I ran from is, I don't even know if you remember, there was a time where I didn't come around.
Oh, I remember.
There were family functions that went on, and I didn't come. Holidays, I wouldn't come, and thankfully, and this is nothing new, but my in-laws, I love my in-laws to death, and so it would come up, and I just tell a kid, no, let's go with your family. Let's just go with your family.
And I was like, he done left us. Yeah, I get it now.
And that's what it was because it was hard to deal with being in there and just not seeing Mama, because Mama was in the kitchen. She was cooking. You could hear her laughter in the house. Just being there and not seeing her, and not just not even being able to call her name, I couldn't deal with it. And so that was my way of running, I guess. I just defaulted to let's go to your parents' house.
And see, I'm glad that you bring that up, because it's something, if we have not sat in that seat, because you're like, it's minor, but it's not. It was major to you all. And I say you all because I've heard Jessica say the same thing, like to be in this house and hear mama, you know, because ours was there. I know for me, I never really, I didn't think about it. I mean, of course we would be like, having to navigate through moments, just knowing, okay, Vic's not here. Yeah. Okay, Ronald's not here. Okay, Dolphus isn't here. You know, navigating through those moments, but never really knowing like that that there did come a dread. Because as family, you're thinking, we're going to be able to love on them. Yeah. We're going to be able to be there. You know, we're going to keep it, you know. But like you said, you're a connector. Even though you got your own relationship with people. Yeah. The main reason why you were there was gone. And so that's something that I feel like other people, not just, I feel like it'll explain some stuff to our own family even, but I think for others, just knowing moving forward how to kind of cultivate or acknowledge or give space
and that's
for people to navigate how they need to navigate.
I wanted to say that and just be like, especially if something like that happens, you need to just have, just allow people to just deal with things. Sometimes you just got to go through it. Y'all could have, as much as I love my aunts, y'all could have loved on me as much as y'all wanted to. It wouldn't have done anything.
Right.
Because it's just that, to me, Rebecca was the greatest woman in the world. Nobody could replace her. So, as much as you guys could have done or did do, I probably still would have done the same thing because it wasn't her.
Right.
Right. And I just want, and I've had conversations. It was like, look, there's no need to apologize. There's nothing you could have done that would have probably stopped me or filled that void.
Right.
I hate to say it, but you probably would have been wasting your time because there's nothing you could do.
And I guess coming from a family of fixers, and I know you just want to make it better.
Oh, yeah.
You just want to make it right. You want to make it up. And then it did feel like, man, Kevin and I know for me, I miss just nieces and nephews, period, because growing up, y'all were always there. So when any of my nieces and nephews are not there, I feel it. And I did it. I will say in a space, and not in a bad way, but I kind of got jealous for a minute, like. Because it felt like they had you and we didn't. Not against them, but just like it felt. But I get it. That was part of your journey to healing, or that was what you had to do until you could get your footing again.
Yeah.
Because like now you back in there, and I'd be glad to see you all the time. But you were missed. But I get it now. There was no conversation then.
Yeah, there was no conversation, and I
respect that.
And the people that I
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you've been blessed by today's show, feel free to let us know. And if you'd like to sow into this ministry, become a sponsor, or contact us, you can reach us at 803-221-0169. Or you can email us at the ssbbshow@gmail.com. Let's continue this journey together. We need and would love to have you as a sponsor. Absolutely no gift is too small. Please note the info regarding giving and help us spread these testimonies around the world.